Hi there, this is your friend Anna, and the question that I've been getting the most from all of my friends is, what are we wearing? This age-old question isn't just about choosing an outfit, it's about choosing how we present ourselves to the world. I created the I Want Her Shoes podcast to dive deep into what it means to dress with intention, whether you're heading to a council meeting or just having a casual day out with your family. Join the conversation as we explore the power of personal style and the decisions that shape our public personas. Put on your favorite pair of shoes and step into my closet. Welcome back to the I Want Her Shoes podcast, where we sit down with powerhouse women forging new paths, one bold step at a time. I'm your host, Anna Anderson, and today's guest is a master of reinvention, connection, and disruption. Meet Emily Dempsey, social entrepreneur, founder of Brickell Babes, a Miami-based community of over 50,000 ambitious women, Bitcoin advocate, and strategist working at the intersection of community, education, and new financials programs. That's awesome. With a decade in fashion buying and a clear vision for alternative wealth creation, Emily brings both style and substance to how we build, connect, and lead. In this episode, we'll explore how Emily turned a single happy hour into a movement and how she uses Bitcoin and tech to reshape financial sovereignty for women and what it takes to live boldly, lead intentionally, and leave a legacy. Whether you're building a business, community, or just starting a new chapter, this conversation will empower you to show up in your purpose. And thank you so much for being here. Emily, it's amazing to have you.
Thank you for having me on. I'm so excited to be here. We have so many things in common.
I know. You're a fashionista yourself, and I had no idea you had like a buying background until I did some research, which is awesome.
That was like my dream job when I was a kid. So
you did it.
I did it. So I actually never watched Friends growing up, which, if anybody is a big Friends fan, Rachel, the main character, she's a buyer, and I think it influenced a lot of women in the 90s to pursue that path. I actually never watched
I did not
show.
watch Friends either.
So that did not influence me to go that path, but I grew up in Chicago, in a small town where everybody, they leave, they end up coming back, they marry kind of within the community, and you live the same rinse and repeat life. And I really wanted to do something different. My family's background was in financial services for many years. I was a little rebellious. I wanted to go the fashion route. I did study economics, but I was very adamant about pursuing a career in the fashion industry. So I went to school in New York, did as many fashion internships as I could get my hands on in literally every facet of the industry, from
That's awesome.
PR, marketing, production. I was like counting stitches, like stitch per inch. And then ultimately the real thing I wanted to do was get into buying. So I did a buying internship at Barneys, was the first one, and then ended up landing my dream job at Bergdorf Goodman as an assistant buyer.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's like, if you think of like the financial world, working at Goldman Sachs right out of college is like the epitome of
Yes, it is. Yeah.
career goals. Bergdorf Goodman is like the creme de la creme. So we made no money. We worked investment banking hours, but I learned a lot, and
I'm sure you had access to some amazing pieces of clothing.
And great discounts. We used to get like 80% off of sale.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was it was a time.
So what really made you pivot from Saks, Barneys, and before moving to launch Brickell Babes? What was that made you be like, okay, I'm like over this fashion stuff and I'm gonna do something completely different?
I want to do something completely different. So so this was my career for most of my 20s, and I started kind of looking around the corporate environment, and I'm like, I don't really want to be my boss. I don't really want to be like three people up the ladder. I don't want to be the president of the company. And I started realizing that there was such a cap on the amount of income that I was ever going to make working in corporate. And I also didn't love that I was building something for somebody else. We would run around acting like, the world was coming to an end and we were saving lives, and it would just be
That's true. That's always make it seem like that, right? Like it's so like intense and like
such a high stress environment. And like I wanted something more, and the timing ended up. So I got very pigeonholed into a super analytical role because I understood numbers. I was doing a lot of like financial planning and analysis for the buys. So I was involved in actually picking out the product, but then they're like, wait, you're actually really good at Excel and spreadsheets and numbers. There's not a lot of people in this industry that are. You're going to focus on that, which
you're like, I don't want to do that.
Isn't, no,
yeah, I want to be creative.
I want to be creative. So I started a health and fitness Instagram account called Detox to Retox that was like work hard, play hard. And that was like my real first kind of journey into entrepreneurship. It was creator economies blowing up at the time. And I like talked to a bunch of friends in the space in different capacities, and they helped me figure out how to monetize. So I was able to monetize that Instagram account pretty quickly. And then I'm like thinking, okay, what other industries can I go into? Do I go into business school? What does that look like? Unfortunately, the pandemic hit.
That changed everything for everybody.
It changed everything. So it didn't make sense to go to business school. It sent me back to Chicago. I was not going to stay in New York City in my little studio apartment in the West Village for the pandemic. And it kind of like forced me to recalibrate. So I'll skip over kind of the boring stuff, but I worked in 2 different fashion tech startups before kind of deciding to go all in on commercial real estate brokerage, which is
so different.
It's so different, but I went into retail leasing. So retail leasing is
so it's like kind of like in the same area, maybe same contacts.
Same contacts. I had a lot of relationships in the health and fitness space from the health and fitness influencer stuff. The company I was working for also had a lot of relationships. So there's a ton of overlap. And then also if you're thinking about merchandising a shopping mall or a strip center or something like that, the way that you position all of the stores is very similar to how you merchandise a floor ad.
Yep.
It's a similar way of thinking. So it wasn't like completely out of
But not everybody would figure that out though.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So that makes you a special entrepreneurial mind person, that you can actually see those kind of dots connect.
Yeah, so that was the thread. So then I'm like, okay, I always wanted to move to Miami. This is my time. The company I was working for was based in New York, but they were doing a lot of national tenant representation. So they have a huge pocket of clients in South Florida because everybody wanted to open their business or expand their business down here. So I'm like, I can work for this company remote. I can move to South Florida and just really try to figure it out. So I moved to Miami officially. I would Airbnb and stay with friends during the pandemic.
Just to make sure,
Gotta test it out. So January of 2022, I moved to Miami. I moved to Brickell. By March, I'm like, okay, I don't have the same girl group that I had in New York. I had this amazing community of very career-oriented, entrepreneurial, just like-minded women in New York, and I was struggling to find that in Miami. I didn't know where to get a manicure. I had 3 really bad manicure experiences where the price changed every time at the same location. Classic Miami experience.
Yes, so then this is when this thing happened on March 16th, 2022, right? Yeah. You invited 35.
How did you find the exact date? That's amazing.
I'm a good researcher.
You have a very good researcher.
Thank you. You invited 35 women to happy hour, and that became the seed of your now 50,000 member community. So let's go through that moment because that's so cool.
Okay, so I moved to Miami. I'm in Brickell. I'm in all these other Facebook groups that had existed pre-pandemic. They were very anti-transplant, very anti-New York, and some of them very anti-women. So when I would post looking for resources, there were a lot of times where I would get attacked or people similarly.
I'm so sorry you had those experiences like that.
I'm sorry I had those experiences, but I'm not one to sit around and complain. I'm very much, I'm going to fix this. I love efficiency. That's one of my love languages. So I start a different Facebook group, and I put in the title and the description, I moved from New York, I worked in fashion, I did a career change, I'm looking for like-minded women, resources, this is a safe space for these people. I messaged a couple people, they joined the group, we get up a couple hundred members in the first week.
Amazing. That's awesome. So that's how it's a lot of people moved down here and they were looking to connect with other people. Yeah.
So then a week later, we're like, okay, should we do a happy hour? I make a reservation for 4 people at Moxie's in Brickell, which is like kind of the center of all the action, thinking nobody's going to show up. And I get there and we end up having over 35 girls show up.
That's so cool.
And the community has just exploded from there. So today we're actually now at 60,000 people across all of our platforms. We're generating 600,000 impressions a month on average. And then we've hosted somewhere between 150 and 200 events since
2002. Amazing.
Yeah.
That's great.
A lot of events. So, and that's what the community wants. People want to connect in person. They want Miami resources. And then we started to do a lot more professional and personal development content as well, because that is our girl is looking to become the best version of herself.
Love that. And let's talk a little bit more about community. And you said it's a lot of events, especially in the age of AI. And what is it also like? Let's go a little bit beyond that. Are you connecting people like specifically that have the same interests, or like are you guys just kind of connecting in like different fun locations and doing events? Because I feel like now that people are looking more and more to connect, because you don't know what's real online, right?
Yeah.
Like you can be on like 1,000 Zooms, right? But you don't know if it's now. You don't even know if it's like a deep fake, really.
Yes. Yeah.
They're on the
100%.
other side.
And I think that's what's so interesting about this community is our digital presence is very large. It's very, we're active on so many different platforms, but the in-person aspect of it is so important. And people, especially coming out of the pandemic and with all these new transplants down here, they're looking to connect in person.
Yes.
People want in-person connection.
Yeah, no, I agree 1,000%. You know, and I think like the more, you know, the more advanced the AI gets, the more we're going to see communities come together.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, they say now community is the new influencer. There's a ton of articles starting to come out about this, where people no longer trust, you know, the tried and true influencer because they don't know if they're actually standing behind a product or if it's just a paid ad. And community, crowdsourced recommendations, referrals are so much more, there's so much more trust there. So that's really what we're seeing a lot of within the community.
Yeah. No, I think that's amazing. Amazing that you're doing this. And I think that we need to bring more people together this way, right?
No, we definitely do.
And I know that you're also a passionate advocate for Bitcoin. How did you enter the space? And why do you see this really essential for women, especially? Because I feel like there's not enough really education for women in this space.
No,
so are you guys talking about this in the community as well?
Yeah, so we are. So the reason I got into the Bitcoin space to begin with is because of my father. So he was a trader for many years, and back in early 2010, not 2010, but 2012, 2013, one of the analysts that he follows flagged Bitcoin because of the cycle that it was demonstrating in the market. So there's something called a Fibonacci sequence. And if you're a specific type of trader, that's a signal. So one of his analysts picks up this Fibonacci sequence in Bitcoin, which is a very new asset at the time. Most people didn't really even know about it. So he's had his eye on it for a long time and been involved in various capacities, successfully, unsuccessfully, but like a very big passion advocate of it. My brother as well. And so I've kind of heard about it for many, many, many years. And I didn't actually ever get involved in the space until my Instagram account, that detox, the Detox to Retox account, got hacked.
Oh gosh.
And the only way I was going to get the Instagram account back was if I sent this stranger on the internet $500 in Bitcoin. It's a funny story.
But that's an awesome story.
So I have to get my first entrepreneurial journey has now been taken hostage, and I cannot get it back unless I download a Coinbase account, set up a Coinbase account, and send some stranger on the internet $500. I don't know if they're giving me the account back or not. I did it. I ended up getting the account back. I didn't really touch crypto again after that for a couple of years. So that happened, I think that was 2017 when that happened. And then I started, sending a little bit of money here and there, doing the dollar cost averaging thing. And then when I moved to Miami being really the crypto capital of the world, they had the Bitcoin conference here in 2022. So I'm like, you know what? I'm here. I want to learn. I'm always looking to learn new things. I think this is such an important space. I think it's the future of finance, digital assets. If you can understand how digital assets work, how blockchain technology works, and you're in the AI space. So
a little bit different, but they do cross over for sure.
They cross over for sure. And I think it's fundamentally, it's understanding technology and how can we use technology to enhance our lives and make things simpler, easier, quicker. And that at the root of it, Bitcoin is a blockchain technology, which it's essentially the guardrails to move money, whether you're...
Doesn't matter where.
It doesn't matter where. So we're starting to see massive banks adopt Bitcoin technology, tokenization, to implement in their strategies. And it doesn't necessarily have to do with buying a meme coin or a Bitcoin. It's the truly like the pipes. It's the system that the financial markets are operating on.
And you also mentioned building both on-grid and off-grid mining facilities with a focus on energy innovation.
Yes.
How does that work?
And
what does it signal for the future of wealth?
Yes. So
for those of us that don't understand.
That. Yeah. So I'll give you guys like a little 101 on what is Bitcoin mining and why were we even looking to do that. So I launched this community. I get into commercial real estate. The commercial real estate asset class that I was in, unfortunately, I caught the wrong time in the cycle, and it came to a screeching halt. So all my deals fell apart.
Hey, but everything happens for a reason, Emily, right?
Everything happens for a reason, and if you're an entrepreneur, you're a budding entrepreneur, you will learn very quickly that pivoting and recalibrating and knowing when to pull the plug on something is extremely important. And so I saw this as an opportunity to learn more about Bitcoin. My father had been mining like in a really small capacity with another group. He didn't really understand it, but he wanted to learn more.
Right.
So we ended up joining forces, and late last year, I officially decided I'm going to dive into this whole world of Bitcoin mining, which there's literally no women in the space.
I know, it's very, very spare. There's 5 maybe.
But it's very similar actually to AI. And this is where, and not AI like the fundamentals, but the energy and the compute power.
Yes, because everybody's concerned about large language models now that we're switching to small language models, to save power. And, that's the concern about the energy that's being used in both.
It's both. So essentially a Bitcoin mine is a data center. Mm-hmm. And the Bitcoin mine, this version of the data center, needs the cheapest possible power because you need as much power as you can to guess a sequence of numbers. And if you guess the correct sequence of numbers, you unlock a block. And with the block comes a certain amount of Bitcoin. So I thought this was a really great opportunity to learn about energy, power. There's a tie back to real estate because finding cheap energy on grid and off grid has to do with real estate. So if you're on grid, you are next to a power plant and you're negotiating or you're dealing with pre-negotiated power rates. If you're off grid, you're looking for an energy source, say stranded natural gas. There's people using cow manure to mine Bitcoin. There's people using coal. There's people using water plants. So you can really, it's anywhere there's energy, you want to find the cheapest energy, and then you're going to capture that energy and use it to power your data center.
Yeah. Well, thank you for explaining that.
Hopefully I didn't
No,
bore
that
anyone.
makes a lot of sense. I mean, we have some, very smart folks listening to this, so that's awesome. But now let's go back to fashion.
Okay, back to fashion.
Yes, and how does your aesthetic sense really influence how you lead, brand, and build community?
Yeah.
How do you use your style as a tool to do all those things?
Okay, so style to me this is why I got in the fashion industry in the first place, because I think the way that you dress makes you feel a certain way about yourself. And
1000%.
Clearly, through building a female empowerment community, I'm so passionate about helping women look and feel their best in whatever capacity that is. That's what initially drew me into the fashion industry. And so if you feel like, if you're wearing the color palette that looks the best on you and brings out your beautiful green, blue eyes, are you a warm summer? Are you a soft fall? what is your color palette? So how are you dressing? What is the energy you're giving off when you walk into a room? Are you feminine? Are you sexy? Are you more masculine? Like, your clothes, your makeup, your hair can say so much about you. So we've been able to pull some of that into the Brickell Babes events that we do in person. So whether it's having a color analyst or somebody in the beauty space or the fashion space, that's an important part of what we're doing. And then for me personally, I feel like I reinvent my style every so many years. I get a little bit older. I want to give off a certain vibe, moving more into being like, so I went from having a health and fitness Instagram account. There's a ton of content. It's archived mostly now, but of me running around New York City and like cute little matching workout sets. But I literally had to do a whole rebrand of myself when I went into commercial real estate, which is, again, a very public, you're a broker, you're a real estate agent for commercial properties. So it's very public. You want to brand yourself differently. And then now leaving real estate and getting into the Bitcoin space, still very much wanting to be like a feminine woman, but needing to be taken seriously. And then also running a female empowerment networking group in Miami where fashion, style, and femininity are so important to us down here. It's a really interesting kind of, I guess, what is that? 3 different avenues of like having to think about what is my image, what am I projecting out into the world.
No, that's an amazing answer. Thank you so much. No, and that makes a lot of sense, and I think that's great that you guys are doing that. I went to one of your events, and I think there was some, the color thing, which was really, I love that.
So cool.
Yeah, no, I feel like, if you can have some takeaways every time, that is really, people always appreciate that, and then they get excited.
They get so excited, and what I learned, and the reason I just got so excited is I figured out that you can actually upload your picture to ChatGPT. So you want to do a no makeup, natural light photo. Have you heard of this?
Yes.
And you upload it to ChatGPT and you ask it to do a whole analysis of you and identify your color palette. It will recommend specific makeup brands, colors, clothing brands, like down.
Yeah, there's people that there's people that used to do this before ChatGPT, but now you can do it yourself.
You can do it yourself.
Yes,
free.
You don't have to pay like $100.
Yeah.
So yes, no, I mean the AI is like game changing for so many things.
It's oh my god, I joke AI is my co-founder.
Hey, it kind of is. It's like your co-pilot, almost, right? And for many women, balance between career connection and personal life is really tough. How do you define success for yourself, and how has that really evolved for you since you've pivoted so many times?
I have pivoted so many times. I mean, I definitely, in full transparency, I struggle with imposter syndrome, and pivoting careers. The number of pivots that I've done, there's a common thread between all of them. But I think I have such a high barrier of success in my head that it can definitely be challenging. But I think coming back to it at the end of the day, something I started doing earlier this year that's really helped me a lot is I have a note in my phone, and I call it my manifestation evidence log.
Love that.
So it's a very, very long note, and it's just bullets. And every time something happens, it could be really big or really small. A connection I make, a deal that gets closed, meeting somebody, it could literally be anything. I put it in this log, and I put the month and the year in there. So then whenever I'm feeling down, or I have this wave of imposter syndrome, I can go back and scroll, and I'm I did so much this year.
That's a great tip, ladies. Yeah. That's an amazing, something that you can easily do. And that just gives you that little adrenaline boost of seeing how amazing you actually are.
Yeah.
So, no, thank you so much. That's amazing. And also, I mean, I feel like some people say that, I feel like a lot of the younger folks or women say, I don't think imposter syndrome is real. But I feel like it's kind of, maybe it's going away, but it is really real, and I'm the kind of person that I've always inserted myself in those kind of situations to help other people.
Yeah.
To give other people voices, right? Because if I'm not there, who's going to do it?
Right.
So, and I think that's awesome that you're doing that in Bitcoin too, because we need that. Because then more women will be joining these spaces, and it'll be more diverse, and we need more diversity for algorithms for these things to function better, because you need people that think differently. You need people that feed the AI with different ideas, because it's essentially us that's feeding the AI and the data. And you know, so it all goes back to diversity, really, you know.
And I think you use the word diversity. I like to use the word polarity, because I
like
think that there's masculine energy, which there's a lot of in the Bitcoin space, and then, you know, in her shoes, Brickell Babes, these are very feminine communities, and I love having like the safe space for women, as I'm sure you do too, but having the polarity of the masculine energy and the masculine perspective is so important. It's like yin and yang. We need them both to go together to create, you know, things that are more evolved and more beautiful. And whether it's a company or an AI LLM or...
No, we need both. Yeah, we need the mix of everything.
Yeah.
Right? So that's how kind of the energy in the world works. So, and you've partnered with many philanthropic causes, including Lotus House in Miami through Brickell Babes. What is giving back? Why is giving back important to your model? And what is next kind of for you and for, you know, more redheads in Bitcoin, or what?
So Lotus House is the organization we've chosen to align ourselves with here in Miami. If you're not familiar with them, they are the largest women's shelter in the country, which I find absolutely fascinating, because Miami is not the largest city in the country, but they are, and they actually have a very good model for how they run the organization, that their leadership team actually flies around the country to teach other homeless shelters, women's shelters, how to operate, because they have such a high success rate of people coming into their program and then graduating and being successful.
Right.
So I think being local to Miami, being a woman first philanthropic organization, it was really important for us to find a group like that. So we do volunteer days with them about, I would say, once a quarter. We do clothing swap / clothing drive, where everything that is not swapped ends up getting given to the Lotus House organization. And then we also have a couple of our ambassadors are teaching financial literacy and entrepreneurship courses.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
To the residents. So we really, like, there's such an incredible organization. And if you're in Miami, you're looking for someone to get involved with, I cannot recommend them enough.
Awesome. Well, we'll have to share a link for sure.
Yes, we'll share the Lotus House link. My own podcast, sometime in the new year. We have about 9 episodes batched right now. We're filming 3 more.
Nice.
And the idea really being to help educate women specifically on digital assets and Bitcoin. And the way we're doing that is, I'm not just going to come out with a Bitcoin only podcast, because I think it's going to that would be an uphill battle to get women to listen to. So we're going to have 3 different...
Because there's just not enough women to interview on that.
There's not enough women to interview. So what we're doing is, the podcast is called Stacked, with the idea being become your own best asset. So you're stacking...
Kind of like your conference as well,
yes,
right? Yeah.
The same name as our conference that we held. So we will cover financial literacy, Bitcoin, entrepreneurship. So that's kind of one bucket. Crypto, Bitcoin is its own bucket, and then wellness. So we have this flywheel, and everything kind of ties back to relationships with money, whether it's your relationship with money, your relationship with your business, relationship with your partner, your family.
Love that.
So that's the theme. And then we'll use that to help educate more people, more women specifically, on digital assets, with the idea being that as the platform grows, it'll start with the podcast, and then we'll move into more financial literacy resources. You know, what does that look like? Lots of ideas of what that will look like, but that is
there's a bunch of opportunity.
There's a lot of opportunity there.
Because there's just not enough resources in the space right now. And if you could give one piece of advice to women who are building something, whether it's a network, a brand, or a new financial future, what would it be?
It would be to talk to as many people as possible. Network. You never know who somebody knows. You never know who is going to be able to help you. And don't be shy. Just start.
Yes, it's never too late to start.
Never.
All right, well now let's take a look at these shoes that you brought.
Okay, I brought 2 pairs. My favorite brand, it's one brand. In fact, it's the same brand I'm wearing right now.
Alrighty, well, I love Saint
ready?
Laurent as well. Yes, we're ready. I have quite a few of those myself.
All right, so we have, these are like my boss lady shoes.
Like this. So why don't you describe what they are, Emily, for those of you people not watching on YouTube?
So it doesn't cut off So it's not giving you, like, what is it called with the bra line where you have, like, the bra fat hanging over?
Oh my God, like I don't know what, I know what
You
you're
know what I'm
talking about.
talking
Yes,
about?
yeah, like, or the cankles, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh
yeah.
yeah, that kind of.
So you don't want that on your foot either. That's not a good look. So the reason I love these shoes is because it's a simple strap on the ankle, very simple strap here, and it just makes you look
nice and lean, long
and lean, tall, thin, svelte, beautiful. So I love Saint Laurent shoes. They're very sexy, very comfortable, very well made.
They are. I gotta agree. All right, well, let's do a quick round. Why don't we put these up here too for the visual, how beautiful they are. Let's do a quick fire round of this or that. Happy hour rooftop or early morning strategy session, or both? Or like one after the other.
I feel like my life is very much both, if possible.
Yes, of course it is. Bitcoin deep dive or high fashion runway?
I'm like Bitcoin deep dive right now.
One-on-one coffee chat or crowd front keynote?
One-on-one coffee chat.
Agreed. Curated event or digital community moment? We already know that.
Curated event.
On grid or off grid?
Right now I'm gonna say off grid. Power is a lot cheaper off grid.
True, that's true. Fashion week buyer or blockchain builder? We know that.
Well, I've done both, and I'm now in the blockchain builder era.
Love it. Membership club or open access platform?
Oh, this is a tough one. I have like different answers for different things. So Brickell Babes is an open access platform.
But the other one will be more like a...
Yes. Yeah.
That makes sense. Luxury brand collab or grassroots startup?
Luxury brand collab.
Style, mood board, or financial plan?
Both.
Yes, both. It's okay.
If you look at any of the decks I put together for like, I like love Canva. I love making decks. I love financial modeling from my old world. There is mood boards, Pinterest, a lot of inspo, and then there's like the spreadsheet, the modeling.
Hey, you can do both, and that's what makes you a unicorn, you know. Community building or business building or both. Obviously, I think it's both.
I think they go together.
They do. Well, Emily, thank you so much for reminding us that leadership isn't just about success metrics. It's about connection, intention, and reimagining what's possible. And your journey shows that when we build with purpose, scale with strategy, and lead with heart, the result isn't just a network, it's really a movement that you're making. So congratulations, it's amazing. And to our listeners, if you've ever felt like you're ready to belong, ready to build, or ready to elevate your wealth in your world, let this episode be your launch pad. And because sometimes the most powerful thing you can create isn't just your next job or your next deal, it's a community and ecosystem or a new future.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, this was awesome.
This was so fun. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. All right, well, the next part is fun too. I'm going to ask you to pick a pair of shoes from here that represents you the best, and then we're going to take a nice little Polaroid. Do you remember these at all?
Oh my God, yes. I had
these?
them.
I love them so much.
I have them.
I still have them.
You have so many colors in here. I love it.
Yeah, I'm a color girl. That's why I left the Bay Area, because it was just too great for me, you know.